On the Level Talk Show.
You're tuned to On a Level with Ankhobia. This is Muta Baruka.
Get ready for some of the hottest talk on radio. The On a Level Talk Show addresses issues that matter to you.
Ankhobia with On a Level.
We get to a controversial part of the speech now. Very controversial part of the speech. Something that, is controversial. And he says, I should teach the black man to see beauty in his own kind and to stop bleaching his skin. That's not the controversy. And otherwise looking like what he's not. Back in the days of slavery, race mixture, race miscegenation, which is the races mixing, had occurred because the African woman had no protection from the slave master. Therefore, there is no need today for black people themselves to freely continue a practice that smacks so much of slavery. In other words, I don't know why you black men are sleeping with white women. I don't know why you black women are sleeping with white men. You're not slaves no more. Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah.
Behave yourselves. But some people would say, see, that proves what we're saying.
No.
Garvey was a racist.
No. You can be perceiving it as that, but I'm telling you that in that day, remember,
1924,
it's illegal in the law in countries for people to mix. So this is not Garvey's view. You understand? This is the law. This is the view of the world. Even today, people still have that view now. You understand? Hey, Asian people, do you think they condone when their kids have? They don't like them marrying outside of the tribe that they've designated.
They don't like Sikhs go with Hindus or whatever.
And they're both one.
Sometimes they allow it though,
You
but
understand?
yeah.
But these are two exactly the same race as what we would call race. Ethnicity.
Yeah.
So what Garvey's saying, that's not racism. Everybody wants to keep their own people pure. Who doesn't want to do that? Everybody
Who doesn't want to do that?
Who doesn't want to do that?
Some would say a lot of black men.
No, that's now. I'm talking about in them days. I'm talking about in them days. If you go back to them days, that is the rhetoric of everybody on the earth then. It's not just Garvey saying that.
Okay.
The Europeans are saying that.
But Garvey's saying that the fact that you're doing it is like, it shows you're a slave.
What Garvey's saying, which is correct, is that only happened, and that began to be happened when the slave master used to force himself upon us.
When he used to rape black women.
Yeah, that's what he says. I wouldn't put it past even boys as well. People never talk about that.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't put it past boys as well.
They raped off boys.
Of course.
They raped off boys.
Yeah. So what he's saying,
and men.
He's saying that's when they forced it upon us. It was in a position of slavery. So he's saying, why are we still practicing something that we know came to us in that way?
Because it wasn't something we did before?
It wasn't. No, of course there's always been mixing. There's always been mixing. That's how we get the whole different races on earth. You understand? It's the way in which that has come to us. You understand? And he's right. It came to us originally through rape, molestation and things like that. So Garvey's saying, now we're free. They can't rape us. They can't molest us. Why carry on practicing that now? That's what he's saying. That's not at the time, that's logical.
So for Garveyites now then, is it logical to continue that theme to say, I'm a Garveyite, I am not marrying a white man, I'm not marrying an Asian man, a Chinese man, I don't care if it's an alien from space, if he ain't black, he's not coming into my bed, we're not getting married, and no black man should be with a white woman. There are Garveyites who say that.
No, I think me personally, I think everything you said previously, I don't see a problem with that. I don't think that's racism. I don't think that's against anybody. I would say that. I love my wife. She looks like my mum. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? I want my children to look like me. What is wrong with that? Is that racism? I never fell in love with somebody from a different nation or race or whatever, you know. So I haven't got that problem that many people may have. Well, if I did, I'd probably have a different view.
I find in this country,
but I don't see it as racism for a black man or for anybody to say that he wants to have a partner that looks like him, that comes from his culture, I don't think that's racist. I don't think if a white person said that to me, I never go at black people, I wouldn't take that as racism. I wouldn't take it as racism. Probably she don't find, or he doesn't find black people attractive. So I wouldn't see that as racism. But when we say it, you understand? It's like racist. No, it's not racist. But I don't think that we should ostracize people when they do that. I don't think that, because and I think it's illogical in this day and age. I don't think Marcus Garvey would have done it in this day and age, because particularly in this country, because there's such a vast amount of dual heritage people, which is part of the audience, and a vast amount of black males and females right now are in a mixed relationship, that we'd lose all of that. And we are losing all of that. These people are very important, and they're as passionate about their people as everybody else. Just because they may have a white partner does not mean that they're not passionate about their people. That doesn't mean that they're not passionate about making change.
I challenge that on some level. I challenge that.
I know, because
trust me, I come from Wales. I know some black man not even taught him about black history, culture, and the women them too, or black coming together work. They're not interested. They just want to be white. They just want to put their heads down. They want their dual heritage, mixed heritage children, and that's it. You see it in the society today, how they push forward persons who are dual heritage to even speak for the larger black cause. You find those persons who are red skin or dual heritage seem to be on the TV talking about African history or our struggles. There are black men and women. I've seen it. Some of them don't bring a black woman to them. It's like you're bringing poison. Do you know what I mean? Don't bring the same with some of the women. But I find them more so. I could be wrong. I find them more so with black men. And I just wonder. I do wonder, if you're oppressed, how do you go to bed with oppression? Number one. Secondly, you're in a system, and then you don't benefit from the same way in your partner who has is your partner 100% fighting against the system of oppression, of so-called, I don't want to even use that word, you know the word that I'm trying to get away from, but a certain sort of, they got a power in the system. Are they then willing to give up that power in order to be with you or fight against that power?
I've seen that a lot.
But these are just some of the things I know people are going to be saying, some of the things that I've experienced and come across.
There's no doubt that you have
how do they contribute to their race? How do they help their race? The Indian man in this country, if he has a white woman, she's a side chick for the most part. She's a side chick, and they have a few of them, don't get me wrong, but she's a side chick. When he puts his key in the door, he's there with his Indian woman, his Hindu woman wife, Muslim wife, whatever. The same with the Chinese, the Arabs. I mean, but when it comes to the black man, even if they want to talk to you about race and struggles, when it comes to their bedroom politics, it's like the reasoning, everything just changes. They can't reason again. And to me, it's a part of the slavery, that mindset that Garvey is talking about. A lot of the men I've seen coming up in Wales who were going with, and in London and other parts of the country, who were going with white women, it wasn't necessarily because they fell in love with her. It was a form of tokenism, and a lack of their own self-worth, that if I can't get ahead in society, I can't be anything. But if I can get you, I can show it to the white man, you can stop me from having a job, you can stop me from doing certain things, but look, I got your woman. And then I'm going to produce children who no longer have to go through, you think, the pain and suffering I went through of being black. That's what I also see as well.
Yeah, well, I understand, but why?
I'm not saying that there aren't people who genuinely fall in love.
Nobody's what I was going to say. I'm going from my personal experience. I mean, I can talk about this freely because everybody knows that all my children and one race and all the rest of it. So I kind of always had that. So I can talk about this freely. But me personally, as I'm saying, you have to bring in love into it as well. You have to bring love into it, because I know people who are in love.
That's what I've just said. There's not to say that there's not.
That's there as well. But there's also a fact that, yes, there are going to be people who go into that type of relationship and they have no other concern about their blackness and their Africanness and so forth. But I'm just saying, but there are also people in that same situation that I know of, many people who I know of, who are still putting their shoulder to the wheel in things that they're doing to help black people. As an example, for instance, you have black people today. I'm going to example, 2 black people, both of them together, and still haven't got no passion for their black culture. Still, they don't look at their black history and they don't do nothing to help their people.
It's true.
But what's the difference to me? It's no difference to me. You understand? It's the mindset of the person. So I'm saying that likewise, you got 2 black. There's more chances that if you got 2 black people together, that they're going to more likely have a greater interest in black history and culture to teach to their children. Well, that's not written because of 2 black people. This is what I'm saying. And I'm saying that sometimes you find that, and I've seen this with my own eyes because I've had people come to me to educate them, to help their children who are in dual heritage relationship. They come to me because they know how much parents you think, white parents have come to me to ask for information, whatever, to teach their kids, because they want their kids to know their black history.
Yeah, I've experienced that.
I get that all the time.
When I was at the radio station, I never forget 2 English ladies came in once and asked me if I could recommend some books to them for their children. And because their children were Jew heritage, so we sat down and went through some books. Then, could I recommend someone who could do hair because they're struggling to do the child's hair? Can I recommend a black woman who's a hairdresser or something so they can get their children's hair done? And yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So to me, it's not clean cut like that. And again, the way how I look at when Marcus Garvey makes that statement, and he makes statements like that. And this is why I don't perceive it as racism at all. I know you probably a lot of people who listen to this probably don't follow the Bible, but if you go and read the Bible and you go and read what God tells the Hebrews how they must operate amongst other people.
Do not go with the daughters of was it of Egypt?
Of anybody else.
Yeah,
now, the Amorites, he forbids them, do not mix with the other women. It will spoil, you understand?
The lineage.
The lineage and everything. The
change
customs,
up your complexion.
The culture. And
the culture and the heritage. Yeah.
Well, people saying that people are saying that God's racist? Because God told the Jews them that. You understand? So Marcus Garvey is just doing the same thing. He's trying to create a nation. He's trying to build a nation. He wants us to remain in a state of purity until we get to a point where we can say, well, we know who we are. Then we can start thinking about who else we're going to interact with. We have to know who we are first. You understand? So this is why, even in the scripture, it says to the Jews, fix up yourself first. Don't interact with these people. Don't interact with these people. Don't interact with these people. Not because you must hate them or you must dislike them, but because I want you to become the people who I want you to be. You understand? And the only way you can do that is if you keep this thing tight, keep it within yourselves, you understand? And look at and reflect upon your own history, your own heritage, your own experience. And that is what I've been molding you for over the centuries so you can be the people who I want you to be. You understand? And another very good example why I think that it's very important that this is also stressed, why Garvey would have that premise, because Garvey's talking about returning to Africa for some of us. You understand? And the returning to Africa, there is a claim that he knows that we have when we return to Africa. And once we start to mix in these times, we lose these claims. You understand? So it's even about long-term strategy. When it's time to go back to Africa, is this person going to come with you? Is the child going to come with you? And he's thinking about nation building. He's thinking about building a nation. So he's got to be thinking about those things. Can white people come to Africa? Can they go? So he's going to be thinking about these things. It's not conducive to what he's trying to achieve. He's trying to build a nation from scratch, because we haven't got a nation at the time. He's trying to ensure that we're strong and bloodline and everything. So he's not saying anything different from what anybody else is saying. But I would say that Marcus Garvey has probably more credence and authority to say it than anybody else in the world who's saying it at that time, because we was the people who were suffering at that time, and we needed to do more than other people to get out of that situation. So that to me would be more specific to our experience than it would be to anybody else. Hold that view, keep it in-house, don't let nobody in. So I don't see that as racism, I see that as strategic, you understand? And I see this as imperative for us to build a nation of our own, not racism at all.
Okay.
Ankhobia, empowering the community with the On a Level talk show.